Thank you, Abraham. My son is 6 years old. He couldn't be more wonderful. He's happy. He's smart as a whip. When he was just 18 months old, a baby, he was found to have diabetes, what they call juvenile or type 1 diabetes, which means he's perfectly normal in every way, except that we check his blood sugar level about every 2 or 3 hours, and he gets an injection 3 or 4 times a day of insulin. I've heard you say on tapes that all illness is a result of resistance, or all illness is a result of negative emotion. And I would like to know what to say to my son when he asked me, "Dad, why did God make me diabetic?"
We would like to make a improved statement to you, because while we do say that illness is about resistance, and resistance is evidenced by negative emotion, we would like to say in even clearer terms that everything is about vibration. In other words, to say that all illness is about resistance says that nobody ever plans to do anything different than what everybody else thinks that they should do. That would be like saying no one ever planned to come forth into the physical environment and have any kind of a contrasting experience, and we can't say that. In other words, you come forth intending lots of different experiences, because out of the different experiences, clarity of desire is born. And so everyone coming from non-physical knew that the contrasting experience was going to be the edge in which their desire was sharpened and formulated. And everyone coming from non-physical knew that that sharpened desire is the summoning of life force. In other words, there are many people. Jerry, as a youngster, was very, very sick. And he is one of the healthiest people that you will ever meet today, because from that early exposure to whatever it was, caused rockets of desires to shoot out of him, that caused a clarification, that caused him to focus and think in ways that almost no one else does. And so we really don't want to begin with anyone, especially your 6-year-old, by implying that anything that anybody has done is inappropriate in any way. Where you are is where you are, and where you are is just fine. Now what? Now what do you want from where you are, you see? The common question that comes forth when someone is born with something, or when someone develops something at a very early age, they will say, "Abraham, this deliberate creation cannot be the way you say that it is, because this baby could not be thinking negative thoughts or thoughts of resistance." And we say, well, you think that because the child is not speaking, that the child is not thinking, or that the child is not responding to what is happening around. And you also often misunderstand that this energy, this entity, this soul was thinking before it even came forth. As you stand here in your now, your future experience is being filled with manifestations, or potential manifestations, as a result of what you're thinking here today and what you have thought before this. We've been teasing Esther a little bit as she acknowledged that her discomfort in any moment is actually projecting more problems into her immediate future. In other words, despair over a computer glitch only promises more computer glitches, because future experience is being affected by my point of attraction now. But then we said to Esther, in the midst of knowing what you don't want, there is an automatic request for what you do want that comes out of that. So the solution to your future problem is out there, lurking near the problem. And depending upon how you feel now, you could attract the solution to your problem even before the problem has an opportunity to manifest. Sometimes things manifest, and Esther's greatest irritation is that she could feel something bubbling around that and wasn't able to pinpoint it until it manifests. That just irritates her, because she wants to get to the place where she can identify things. But we want to say to her, you don't want to get to the place where you're identifying the problem and then going to work on the solution. You just want to always be in vibrational alignment with the solution. And in that way, the problems don't play much part in your life experience. So, it is with that understanding and that knowing that your child, not a child, came forth into this physical experience, not worried about manifesting some problem, understanding that on the heels of the problem or on the heels of the question is an answer, you see. So, the power of influence that you might offer, and certainly when and if your child asks about it, is this something that is coming up?
He's just now beginning to realize that everybody doesn't have to check their blood sugar and receive insulin injections. And he did just ask me for the first time this last weekend. He just had his 6th birthday. I was getting ready to give him a shot, and he just plainly, clearly, out of the blue, we weren't talking about it, he said, "Dad, why did God make me diabetic?"
Well, the answer that we would give him is, it turns out that we are all powerful parts of that which we call God. Are you ready for that? Is he ready for that?
Oh yeah, we do talk about that.
And so what you might be saying is, why would God choose an experience that's different from maybe what other people are experiencing? And I think the answer to that is because God likes lots of different experiences. And while we can stand here and say, well, that looks like a better experience than that, and say to him, and we sure can say that about a lot of things, can't we? Don't we have a wonderful life? And there are so many wonderful things that we are living in our choices. And so I've decided, you can say to him, that I'm just not going to worry too much about how it is that we are choosing what we're choosing. Instead, I think we should all just make the best of where we are so that we can create the changes that we choose. And then say to him, I think that God saw you as someone very clear and very smart and very special, who wanted opportunity to make strong decisions early on. I think that's what this is about. And then say to him, you know, everybody I know who's a champion at tennis doesn't want partners who can't play the game. They're always looking for somebody who can lead them even to a stronger, better place. And I knew the day I laid eyes on you that that's who you were. Someone who was strong and clear, who would be reaching for special things. Also, I've noticed in the years that I've been alive that people who are the happiest are people who have made the most decisions. And the people who are the happiest the earliest are the people who've made the most decisions earliest. And I've noticed that life experience is what evokes those decisions. So I think that you decided, even before you got here, that you were going to be one of those early thinkers about your own experience. That's what I think this is all about. And then say, and boy, did you choose a good time. Because look at this technology, and look how we're able to keep you in balance easily. And look at this new methodology of being able to check your levels. These are really good times. I think you did really good in this. And later, other questions will come forth. But by the time they do, you'll have such a powerful little deliberate creator on your hands that the question and the answer will come so close together, you'll have no discomfort in the interim.
Thank you. One follow-up. When his mother is not around, which is often, my 6-year-old son is very happy-go-lucky. If he wants to go somewhere, he skips instead of walks. He just bubbles over with infectious joy. But when he gets in the presence of his mother, within 2 or 3 minutes, he turns sullen and whiny and bratty. He throws tantrums. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. And he stays that way until she's gone again. Other people have remarked to me that they notice this too. Why is that? What dynamic is going on there?
Well, this will be easy for you to hear. And we say this not wanting to strike any comparison between you and his mother. We don't want to hurt your feelings. There is no one on the planet who thinks more about this little one than his mother. He's on her mind mostly. And she's worried. In other words, she wants it to be different than it is. And it hurts her. Let's get off this subject of your son for just a little bit, and let's talk about you as a teacher or an uplifter to anyone. When you hold someone as your object of attention and you are appreciating them, now, in your appreciation, you're connected to source energy, and you just flood that source energy all over them, and it's an uplifting experience for anyone anywhere near. But if you have a friend who you're worried about, and you are in that moment worried about them, now you're not connected to source energy. And so it's almost a draining sort of sensation. And so we think what happens is that this well-meaning mother who wants more than life itself to feel love and appreciation and joy is instead often, particularly relative to that subject, feeling something different from that. And it started quite a long time ago. And so she's just developed some patterns of thought that are not connected to source energy in nature. So now you can continue the chain of pain as you now focus upon the situation where your son is not as happy with his mother. And so now we're sort of all doing the same thing as we notice that his mother is worried about him. In other words, your little one has many moments that he does not even think about that, about the diabetes, right, or about what caused it, or right, about the reason for it, you see. Mm-hmm. And so if we were visiting with your son, we would be encouraging him to pay no attention to any of you and to feel as happy as he can. If we are talking to you, we would be saying to you, pay no attention to any of them and be as happy as you can be. If we were talking to his mother, we would be saying, pay no attention to any of them and be as happy as you can be. But she would be a harder case to hear it because she has longer practiced the vibration of worry, and rightly so, you see. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not point out to his mother that his behavior is more negative when he is with her, because she doesn't need any amplification of how worried she is or how bad she feels. And the last thing in the world that she would like to believe is that she is negatively affecting her child in any way. And so if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would begin to look for evidence that is other than what you just spoke about her. We would look for evidence of their happy times together. And we would try to make that evidence a more active part of our vibration. And we would look for opportunities to compliment her and opportunities to make her feel better. And we would tell her what we talked to you about relative to the reason for it. In other words, she may feel better. Will she receive that easily?
If I presented correctly, if at the right time, at the right moment.
Perfectly stated, because, nothing is more irritating than to be in a bad place and have some well-meaning person point out to you that you're in a bad place, or worse still, try to cheer you up. In other words, you want to shout at them, I know where I am. And even those who do not understand about the law of attraction and do not understand about their guidance system innately are irritated by someone trying to tell them or make them feel better when they don't, you see.